Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell, and this is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And I am so excited to have you guys be a part of this token teaser segment that we are bringing to you today. I've got a couple of incredible guests that are going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about the GOAT network today. So without any further ado, let me pop them up onto the screen so we can get rolling here. We've got Brett up in the top right-hand corner, and we've got Professor Red One in the bottom middle. And so, folks, thank you so much for being here, Brett and Professor Red One. Really appreciate you spending some time with us. Really excited to share this project with my community. I was telling Brett, before we went live, that we really love projects here that have real world use case, real world utility. You don't hear us talk about many meme coins on this channel. That's just not our style. And from what I have studied into and looked at when it comes to the GOAT network, you guys are doing some revolutionary stuff, some stuff that has never been seen. And I'm really excited to give you guys an opportunity to share it with my community.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us a chance to talk about what we are doing. I appreciate to reach out to your community, and we're excited to be here. Thanks.
Awesome. So, let's just, dive right in. If you want to start off with, what is the GOAT network, and maybe as you're telling us a little bit about the GOAT network, maybe, give us a little bit of your background and how you got involved in this crazy world of blockchain technology.
Well, that's great. Okay, my name is Red One cami. Basically, Red One is red as a color and one as a number. I'm a professor at the University of Toronto. I'm a full-time prof at the university since 2011. And before that, I was at the University of Iowa as a prof. I'm a Hawkeye. And basically, this is it was been my first, just to give you a sense, it will become useful later. I'm actually an electrical engineer that did in 1998, graduated, worked as electrical engineer, worked in this area. And then when I did my finance and economics later after I work, somehow in 2014, the University of Toronto needed to basically have a center. And they say a center on innovation and any buzzwords. Oh, who's the prof that knows something about that thing? Oh, maybe Red One. Red One did some electrical. He's an engineer. He may know something. I'm an economic finance prof, 2013 at the end, 2014, and then I get involved in it. That was me, John Hall, someone else. Somebody took machine learning. I kind of jump into blockchain, and I've got no idea, and I was asked to teach a class. That's actually how it started. Like, just learn about something, create a center, and the best thing to learn it is to teach it. This is really, I can tell. You want to learn something, be forced to teach it to the undergrad, because teaching to the graduate is easy. Teaching to the undergrad, you have to simplify it, and that's when you realize you know nothing. This is literally when I actually realized that I have to learn it from scratch, and I use my engineering cryptography degree before, and I make sure actually to learn it. This is really how I get into the field. It was 2014. This is where I bought my first Bitcoin. This is what I get into the Bitcoin field, and basically from a teaching angle. It's maybe different than others. I wasn't doing it first as a project, but more of a teaching. And I get involved into project later on as an investor, and I get with this group that we are developing as an advisor in 2020, 21. And then as this project started a year and a half ago, this is a more of a chief economist. I'm basically, this is the only project I'm with. This is 100% of my time in addition to the teaching that I do. This is about me and about how I get involved in the field. I've been in this area now for quite a long time compared to many. 2014 to today, I've been to the ICO bubble. I have been to the regulation, non-regulated, regulated, strategic ambiguity, knowing nothing about the field, trying to push for it from the academic side and the project side.
Man, I really love that. And I want to interject something here, folks. There was a lot of value in what you just heard there. I know that we're here to hear about the GOAT network, and we're gonna, but folks, I really am a firm believer in what he just said. If you want to learn something, teaching it is absolutely the best way. And so many times, Professor Red One, I don't know if you'd agree with this or not, but so many times people think they're not qualified to teach because they don't know everything themselves. And I'm a firm believer that you don't have to know everything. You just got to know a little bit more than the people that you're teaching.
Actually, it's exactly not just I'm agreeing 100%, but there is something even more than that, because I'm in this field now quite. Actually, this is where you hear this word, I learn from my students. But that's actually true. You learn from your students because you can never imagine all the questions by yourself reading a book. When you teach it, you have like 200 people listening to you, and then different sections, then you're going to get all the potential question. Well, how is the block really working? Or what's really state? What's a state really mean? Or what's really hash really mean? Or what do you mean by you cannot program? Or what's a Turing complete? And what's this project is all about? And then these things you're never going to think about by yourself. That's why when you teach it, not only you force yourself to learn it, but you also you open this amazing continuum of questions that will basically, that's the feedback loop. And the feedback.
Amen.
But you have to be humble too, because there is a problem of some of the teaching. You come in as like you know it all, and you end up knowing nothing. But I think if you come into the field with you telling them the truth, you telling them you're kind of trying to learn this unknown, you get the best out of it. And it has been very rewarding for me. And this is why I think this is why I think it's actually needed. The project we're working on, which is it's actually needed not just for call it like a community of Bitcoiners to make money and to make yield, but it's also needed even for Bitcoin. Bitcoin miners, just to kind of inject in something here, the miners need to make money for the whole system to make sense. The mining depend on subsidies, which is the Bitcoin, which is going lower and lower. Given that the price goes up, is still okay, which I agree, which I think. But also there is this transaction fees. And the way the L2 is going to flourish and the way this ecosystem will flourish in Bitcoin, the more miners also going to make money. It means more of the win-win. Having a DeFi, or let's call it BTC-Fi ecosystem on the top of Bitcoin is good for Bitcoin. Not only because you create securities for others, but also you pay the miners and you make it sustainable. And you make this for a long term, for hopefully hundreds and hundreds of years. And that's why I think GOAT comes in. GOAT in a nutshell, just to get, is solving a very simple problem. The simple problem is we think right now there are many different, there are retails, there are miners, there are sovereign, there are corporations that are holding Bitcoin, and we have a way to have different products, different places for earning real yield in BTC. Not in any inflationary token. You want to earn BTC for your own BTC. This is where you come. You come to GOAT because it allows you to get not cuckoo or whatever. You get Bitcoin on whatever security you're providing with us. It means we're going to get into the details probably later or how you stake. But the whole idea here is, what is GOAT? GOAT is a solution to a problem that exists and will exist even more later. There are different communities, retails from one side and sovereign in another. All of them have different needs to either make some money, either speculate, either earn yield, and they want to earn yield in a hard currency. We allow different individuals with different risk appetite to have different product and earn different yields. That's GOAT. Solution to a problem that exists today.
Awesome. So what is the main thing that you're the most excited about when it comes to the GOAT network? Is it the staking feature? What do you really think is different about the GOAT network and what you guys are trying to accomplish?
For me personally, this is depend who you ask. Okay, I think if you ask me, I think security is the number one thing for me. Are we building something that is secure for people to feel secure? Because the Bitcoiners are different than all the other investors. Because we all expect the 1 million, the 2 million, the 3 million in the long run. Yep. It means for us to move Bitcoin or to make Bitcoin useful to us, you think of security 10 times more, because the expected value for you is much higher, because you're expecting to be, if you just hold on it and you do nothing, and by 20, 30, 34, you're actually touching on the million or something. Depending on which model you're thinking about and depending on how much conviction you have and the whole thing. But let's say we are, in my conviction, this is actually something that will happen.
Yep.
That's why security for me, this is if you ask me. But remember, this is why I'm a chief economist. If you ask someone like Brett, it will be more a user. What's the understanding?
Say that.
Yeah, this is exactly what's going to happen. The users have to gain something out of it. Forget security. What is the yield that they're going to earn? How easy it is for them to come. This is why we like what is a GOAT, because there are different profiles. My profile, security, security, security at the cheapest cost possible. Because if I'm able to give you security with the least cost so that I can deliver yield, I'm happy. Brett will say, I need to focus on the user. What do they want? And this is the reason why we have different product for different people. And this is what is different in GOAT. What is different in GOAT is security at a cheapest cost possible and a large spectrum of product for the Bitcoiners, from Bitcoin lending to staking to basically trade-in strategies. We're going to get into the details, but think of it, my friend, as two things. Think of it as there is this economic and stack of technology that we think we're at the forefront. And if we have a chance, I'll be happy to explain why we are at the forefront of this technology and why we can claim probably we could be the one cracking the code in a sense that we have the most secure chain for your Bitcoin. The second side is, well, what do I care even if it's secure or not if I have nothing to do in your ecosystem? That's why we have a whole team focusing what type of product do people need? What do sovereign need? What do miners need? What do retails need for their Bitcoiners? And that's the part that is ecosystem. It's twofold: security at the cheapest cost and a thriving ecosystem that hopefully we can differentiate ourselves from other people.
When we were taking a look at, how to build out the ecosystem and, what users are really looking for, I think they're looking for a great user experience. Yes, I 100% agree with Professor that, security is the most important thing, but you also have to have a really good, easy user experience to really, have people coming back. As we are using our points and other things to bring people onto chain, the thing that we, look at ourselves every day and say is, how do we have people stick? How do we make sure that we are having people use the chain for the long run, not just until, a token goes live or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you stake the Bitcoin on your platform? And, why should myself and my community stake Bitcoin?
I think this is a great question. And I've been fortunate. I follow some of your episodes, and you're a micro cap guy. You're going to basically understand me quite well when I say there's a risk return trade-off. Basically, we have the way you stake. Okay, there are different ways. You can stake by keeping even your Bitcoin in, let's say there are different versions. If you want to keep it in your L1 on chain and Bitcoin, you don't even move it to the GOAT network, you can earn yield. Like you can earn yield even though if Bitcoin actually stay in your own wallet in the layer one as secure as it is. But as you know, you're taking literally zero. It's almost like investing in more than a treasury bond now, because treasury bond is more volatile because interest rate keep changing every day. And if it's keep changing, things are actually still, it means you're making a certain yield that is very secure. Now, if you want to stake, which is what? That you have to kind of move out of layer one because Bitcoin is proof of work and you need to go to a staking ecosystem in order to generate some yield out of it. GOAT is a decentralized sequencer. For your viewers, the way I'm going to explain it to it is, think about, you have Bitcoin today. You're going to think of coming to GOAT and you're going to say, look, when you deposit your Bitcoin in your L1, stays in L1, we create a wrapped version. And this is common in many places, but it's going to be what is not common is what I'm going to say right now. It's going to basically have a wrapped version of your Bitcoin in the GOAT network. And this wrapped Bitcoin, let's call it GBTC or whatever, G for GOAT. If you basically have GBTC now, you can choose one of these sequencers that basically call them node operators or call them whatever in order to stake. What is staking allows us to do? It allows you to contribute to the security of the GOAT system. It means if you contribute to the security, you earn yield. And that yield is what you share in the profit. Simply for anybody, just like simplify to the core, if you're contributing to the security of the system, then you're sharing the profit of the ecosystem. And to share the profit of the ecosystem, we are the only one right now, this is what I'm going to emphasize, that are decentralized. It means if you come into our ecosystem, you have a chance to choose between different sequencers. Like now, competition creates value. If I was centralized, I can give you whatever I want as a stake, as a reward. But because you're decentralized, sequencers are competing for Kevin's stakes, and if they compete to how much profit they can share. It means anybody who want to earn yield that is not just very minimal yield by staying in L1 can decide to say, I want to stake in GOAT network. They have a choice to choose between the sequencers. And if they choose them, they're going to get reward for sharing in the benefit of the network.
Okay.
What do they share? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's amazing. So, and it sounds like the yield is actually paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah, because transactions are paid. You have an ecosystem. Whatever enter, it gets shared. Why it gets shared? Just simply, you have an ecosystem that is closed. I don't have anything to present it. Users are coming to do many things in our ecosystem. Let's think about this. You have users that are from sovereign to retails. They have different product. What do they pay? They pay fees in Bitcoin. If they pay fees in Bitcoin, I'm going to share the Bitcoin that they have between the agents in your ecosystem. You have these agents sitting there. Called the agents are the sequencers. And they are not one. They are many. It means they compete over these people to come stake with them, which means they have to give them 90% their profit, because if you don't give you 90% of the profit, they'll go somewhere else. And that's the competition. It means who basically going to happen? You get paid as an ecosystem in BTC. You share BTC. That's unique to us.
Yeah.
And what is unique, especially, is decentralization of sequencers. Now, there is a little bit more than that. If you want, I will let probably Brett talk about is if it's today is rewarding because it's the beginning, and I think we can give you points. Maybe Brett, you can elaborate a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, right now, as we haven't launched our token and, we're really building up kind of our ecosystem, what people can do right now is go to one of our partner projects called Artemis and mint a liquid stake token, BTC. From that, it earns transaction fees. And then, all those transaction fees are given back to people that are staking into the Artemis sequencer. Once we go live, there'll be other sequencers that, people can stake, and like Professor said, have the competition. But, some things that we have in the ecosystem are also around kind of that liquid stake token. So it's almost yield on top of yield, giving people kind of a nice benefit to using the ecosystem.
Okay. And so in order to go do that, and they would just go to your www.goat.network and then go to this ecosystem tab here.
Yep.
Okay.
And Artemis is right there. Another thing that people can do is deposit into Avalon. Stablejack will be launching soon. They're a leverage point farm system. So, there's a lot that people can do with that BTC.
Awesome. So are all of these equal as of right now, or would you recommend that they start in any one particular spot?
So we're in season 1 of our One Piece campaign. And right now there are a few different ecosystem dApps that are earning points. So people can use GoatSwap, people can use Artemis, people can use Oku, which is Uniswap v3. And for that, they can earn points, based on transaction volume, based on the size of LP, things like that.
Okay. And then I'm going to ask this question in a way to where if I shouldn't have said it, it's not letting like any type of a cat out of the bag. But when we were talking off camera, it sounds like if people go and get involved and participate in your ecosystem, that there might be some type of rewards that they would get at some point in time. Is that true?
That is true. We are still pre-TGE. We plan to go live with our TGE in the next couple of months. Users can use different apps to earn points, and those points will have a value, someday soon, hopefully. It's a little alpha for your group.
Okay, awesome. So I love the sound of that. It's incredible. One of the things I really love about cryptocurrency is you have the ability to reward, the people that help you get started, that that are early, and in all forms of business, community is so important. But I think in crypto, it's just absolutely essential. You can have the best project, the best product in the world, and if you don't have a loyal community behind it that's excited about it, you really have nothing. So I like the fact that you guys are rewarding people for coming in and checking things out and actually participating in your ecosystem.
Exactly true. It's getting easier right now than in, let's say, 2021, 2022, because now we have what we call proof of activity. Because actually, everybody, we don't just like we're going to be distributed and this airdrop to anybody regardless of doing nothing. Because now with the whole AI and the whole engines that we have, it's becoming extremely simple to know who's actually contributing and who's not contributing, basically how active you are. And the more active you are in the network, you get, let's say, a score. Think of it as a FICO score or something like that.
Okay.
Like you get a certain score of how active you are, and the more active you are, the more point you will get and the more airdrop you can get. And that's getting easier now. It used to be very complicated to do in the past.
I miss the days where you had to set up a wallet on some random chain and you ended up getting $5,000 airdrop to your wallet. Those were the good old days.
Right.
So free money.
So I'm sure that some of the listeners are wondering, is staking Bitcoin secure? Is it on chain? Like, how do you protect the people that are coming and staking the Bitcoin on your network?
Well, this is I think I'll take this first, and then Brett, if you want to jump in. Like basically, this is what I say: different products for different people. I say there is we are probably the only project, not probably, this is the only one that I know of, that actually there is even a possibility to have your Bitcoin in your own wallet, yours, don't share with me, and you're still going to be able to make some minimum yield. Of course, that's only a campaign for few, because they provide more liquidity, they don't provide security, because slashing on L1 cannot exist so far. Now, how is it secure when you move to gold? Now, there is today, and there is what we're trying to build. In fact, what we're trying to build, let me talk about it for a second, because this is actually what I'm the most excited about. And if your viewer have ever heard of BitVM2, basically think of it as a bridge that you're trying to bridge Bitcoin from layer 1 to layer 2. And this is the most trustless, let's say, one end. You only need one honest person in order to get one honest agent in order to get full security. This is called BitVM2. It's a project developed by other people. What we managed to do so far, and this is the most exciting part for me. Again, we are a different team, but to me, is that we think we are probably the leading one worldwide into developing the most efficient way to implement BitVM2. Means we have the most efficient trustless, because the 1N, we make it 0N, because we could be the trusted party or anybody can be the trusted party, and then it becomes completely trustless. Means we have a way so far to implement the BitVM2 in a full trust system, which means now finally we inherit Bitcoin security. Means for your viewer, you have your layer 1, a layer 2. Layer 2 is building on layer 1. Finality is happening in layer 1. And in order for you to bridge, is done with this BitVM2, but it's implemented in a certain way that we think this is still a proof of concept, which we think we actually crack it. But again, implementation sometimes takes some time. But for now, we have a multi-sig system. It means for now, we establish what the majority of projects actually do, which is a multi-sig, which actually can move Bitcoin from L1 to L2. It means you have two different ways. If you want to stay in L1, you earn some certain yield. If you want to go to L2, you're going to earn a different yield, and the yield is adjusted given the risk you're taking. You take absolutely no risk, you make less return. You take some risk, you make double-digit returns. This is normal in the world of finance. It's called risk-adjusted return. And then for us, this is the hope we're going with, is the BitVM2 implementation, which we think it's soon going to be actually a success for us. Brett, anything?
The other thing I would add is, when you take a look at, security and things like that, you take a look at the team and, if it's a trusted team, right? I come from the Metis ecosystem. One of our co-founders comes from the Metis ecosystem. That's a long-standing Ethereum L2. They had over $2 billion of TVL at one point. Yeah. It's a team that has executed before, which I think is why we're one of the leaders in this space as well, which kind of adds to our credibility in terms of security and, trust.
Yes, absolutely. Kind of a funny side note, when I started my YouTube channel back in about April of 2021, a little bit later in that year, I was actually introduced to Metis. And I actually, one of the first like 10 or 15 videos that I did on my YouTube channel was all about Metis. I went back and watched it not too long ago, and I was talking about Metis when it was $11 a token. And then, as you guys know, during the last, cycle, I think it went up to an all-time high of around $250.
No,
370.
370. Wow. Okay. So yeah, that was an incredible project and an incredible token. So it's really exciting. This was the first that I'd heard that you guys, some of you were part of that. So that's amazing.
Well, I think the founder of this project is the founder of Metis, and now he's fully here. I was an advisor for Metis. Brett was at Metis. Yeah. I think, but this project is completely now independent. Metis only in a sense is a seed investor. But I'm actually thinking this GOAT project is we're tapping on a huge market. I think the market of Bitcoiners and making yield for Bitcoiners and finding an ecosystem for the retail Bitcoiners and the institution and the corporate, because we're living in a very exciting world right now. The world, like just 2 years ago, if I tell you how many treasury had Bitcoin, you'll be like counting on like what? Tesla bought it and sold it, and two different other people. Last time I checked from 13F Thomson Reuters is over 3,000. Wow. 3,000 firms is experiencing having more Bitcoin in their treasury. Do you know any treasury department who's going to sit on a bond or going to sit on an asset and not earn yield on it? Impossible. No. It means if you actually have an ecosystem that is targeted for corporate also, not just the retail, which actually what we're trying to have this different product, this is going to be a mega market. We're talking about a huge market here. We hope to be one of the leading ones, and we're excited about it. It's a big market.
So I'm kind of curious. You had a lot of different networks, a lot of different ways that you could have built GOAT network. And so I'm kind of curious, is there any particular reason that you chose Bitcoin versus Ethereum or Solana or SWI?
Well, this is exactly what in fact, this is what exactly I was talking about. Like, we think there is a huge amount of L2s already. Look, let me just step back 1 second. In fact, Ethereum, you mentioned Ethereum and Solana. Ethereum and Solana are already programmable anyway. Do they even need any L2? I don't even think so. They don't even need, because you can do everything in Ethereum. But the Ethereum Foundation, and I will put between bracket, they basically now subsidize. They give security for all this big project in L2s that they're making billions, which actually not even translated money to Ethereum. But keep that aside. It means the idea that they're already Turing complete. You can do whatever you want to do on Ethereum. Bitcoin, you cannot. The question is, you cannot program anything on Bitcoin. What Bitcoiners did since 2019, which is the first time, they started taking miles to make 2%. They will basically wrapped version. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go to exchange it to Ethereum, goes to the DeFi in Ethereum or somewhere else in order to make 2 to 5%. Because Bitcoin is not meant to be programmable, and it's not programmable, and you cannot build much on it on L1. Which is the genius of, I'm not actually putting, that's actually the genius of Nakamoto or Satoshi. The genius is making it too simple so that it's less hackable and so on and so forth.
Okay.
It means this is the reason why I think Bitcoin is the one we should build on, because it's the Bitcoiners that needs it the most. For any Bitcoiners in the future who want to make any return, doesn't need to leave the Bitcoin ecosystem. He will stay in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And that's why GOAT is actually, think of GOAT as a second floor. Your first floor is Bitcoin, and then your second floor is GOAT. And then anytime you're going to have a transaction in GOAT, Bitcoin going to know about it at some point. It means if I have a problem between me and you, finality is on Bitcoin. It means I inherit the fantastic security of Bitcoin, but I finally will be able to program swap contract, lend-in contract, any contract that you can imagine that exists today in, let's say, Ethereum, will be able to be created right now on Bitcoin. It means we are creating, I don't think Ethereum needs it. Solana doesn't really need it. It's the Bitcoiners that need it. And now you have a choice with your Bitcoin. Would you prefer staying within the Bitcoin ecosystem, or I'm going to ask you to go take a visa Go to a different country. I'm just saying, go to Ethereum, clear customs, goes inside. You don't have Bitcoin. You don't know how it works. Try to make some yield, bring it back to you. I think no one in the Bitcoiners ecosystem will do it unless there is no ecosystem that allow them to make yield. It means we are actually very, very focused on inheriting Bitcoin security,
Right.
inheriting Bitcoin ethos with decentralization. That's why we're decentralized. And making sure that any Bitcoiners from 0001 Bitcoin to sovereign, we want them to find a way to generate return in their Bitcoiners. And if you don't, and different risk-adjusted return. If you want to take more risk, you make more money. You want to take less risk in gold, you make less money. It's up to you, and it's up to the diverse holders of Bitcoin. This is why I think it's on Bitcoin that it should be, and that's why I'm excited about it.
I agree. One of the things that I love about Bitcoin. So you mentioned earlier you've watched some of my, some of my videos. So I'm a microcap gem guy too, because I do believe like I'm trying to help people create financial freedom in their life in a shorter period of time. I very much believe though that if you're looking at a 5, 10, 20-year time period, that you can just dollar cost average into Bitcoin and you're going to do fantastic, extremely well, way better than the stock market. So even though it might not, so I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but at the same time, if you asked me, hey, what one token are you 100% certain is going to be here in 25 years, it would have to be Bitcoin. Ethereum and Solana, Sui, they might be around in 25 years. I think there's a good possibility they will be, but some of those tokens are going to go by the wayside. Some of these tokens that we think are good and are going to be around for a long time won't be, but there's no doubt in my mind that Bitcoin is going to be around for as long as the earth exists.
I agree with you fully. I think for me, and to be very, very honest with all the viewers, I'm not asking actually as an advice, you said you want them to be financially free. I will even tell them, look, if you have, let's say, one Bitcoin, never put it all at play. Put only, let's say, 10% of what you have at play in an L2 to make yield. You see, because first you're contrasting it with equity, which is an easy contrast. It's very simple. Equities on average make 6% to 8% a year. Bitcoin just halving on what is happening and the limited supply and whatever reason you take. If you want to take the digital gold idea, then you're already going to be in like 180 this year and 2 years or 3 years later in the 400. If you're going to take the debasement of the dollar and you want something as a dollar, as basically the global reserve currencies, and only if you take 5%, let me give you a number so that it sticks in the viewer mind. If 5% of the global trade is done in Bitcoin, Bitcoin gets to $1 million, only 5%. Now, to your viewer, 2 weeks ago, we already seen that China and Russia have done a partial oil trade in Bitcoin. It means we already see the genesis of reserves being talked in Bitcoin. It means Bitcoin is going. I'm not here to sell Bitcoins because it's an obvious thing anymore to do. I'm only saying that if you have Bitcoin, make a partial part of Bitcoin to earn yield without losing your Bitcoin. It means you want to basically put some of your Bitcoin, not all of it, put some of it to generate return for you so that you can be able to hold it for a long time. If you're a miner, don't sell your Bitcoin. Put your Bitcoin at play, generate yield, and buy the machines and CapEx with it. If you're a retail, get some part of your Bitcoin to generate yield so that you can use it as an income. If you're a sovereign, that's the same thing. It means what I'm advocating to you people is to not come with all your Bitcoin in gold, split it between your L1 so that you have it in your wallet, and take 10% of your Bitcoiner and move it to generate yield for you. Do not move 90% or 100% because you're taking so much risk, regardless of where you're going. That's why you always have to diversify, but within the ecosystem. I hope I'm being very conservative to the viewers. That's why I say the word 10%.
Professor is a much more conservative guy than me. I was going to say, send that 100% to Goat Network and, start earning yield on all of it.
This is different. Oh, that's the age, because you're
I'm
younger than me.
both of you guys. I'm a little bit more on the aggressive side myself, especially once you guys have addressed the security concerns. I learned the hard way back in 2021. My portfolio went up massively. I made some incredible capital gains, but I found out very quickly in 2022 and 2023, that capital gains only go so far, and that creating some, having assets that are creating, income for you, which theoretically, if you're earning yield on your Bitcoin, you can, compound it, but you could also theoretically sell that yield to pay for life, enabling you to keep the underlying asset, the original Bitcoin that you staked, forever. And so I really like the idea behind that.
You said it better than I did, actually. This is exactly what I meant. If you want to really hold for a long term, you need some cash flows to be able to hold. A yield generation that I was actually advocating for people to move to gold is to be able to wait for a long term. And that's, I think, it's going to be a winning proposition. And I think I will just tell all your viewers, please do your homework. There are many people claiming it's L2s. There are side chains. There is absolutely no one. And you can email me, and anybody can email. There is no one right now that have implemented successfully BitVM2 yet. We think, and you can read and you can challenge us, that we have a cost-efficient implementation on the way. Please ask the hard question. Please do your due diligence. And I still will say, do not put all your money in one thing. Diversify, and at least, and I think you will not regret by doing that. And diversify within the ecosystem. Remember, I said in our ecosystem, you can have an L1 return and a risk-adjusted return that is higher than L1 in the double digit. It means you can diversify within the same ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And I think that we forgot to talk about one thing, which is Dogecoin, but it might come up because you asked the question, why you don't do it in Ether, why you don't do it in this. But one thing we actually do, because remember, we want to share. We want to share returns in Bitcoin. It means we needed a community. And the more community you can tap in, the more profit you can get and the more yield you can distribute to people. And this is why actually not only you can stake Bitcoin, you can also stake Dogecoin. Now, we can call Goat a multi-stake decentralized sequencer. It means you go to Goat, there are many places you can stake. You can stake your Bitcoin or you can stake your Doge. And what do you earn? You earn Bitcoin because the transactions are paid in Bitcoin. I pay you in Bitcoin, you distribute in Bitcoin, but we allow multi-staking because we want to tap into the bigger community of Dogecoin that today has nothing to generate return from. You're muted, Brett. Oh, sorry.
A lot of people asked, as we were adding Dogecoin and things like that, why use Doge? And, when our technical team was really looking into additional coins and things like that, we found that, Dogecoin is the only one that is, comparable to Bitcoin. It has those very simple smart contracts. It doesn't have an L2, things like that. And they also are the only community that also cannot earn yield. The only thing you can do with Dogecoin is hold it and hope that it goes up.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you guys, where does the money come from to pay for this yield? Is it transaction fees? How do you guys earn the money so that you can pay out the yield to the stakers and the people that are?
So it is all in transaction fees. Our economic model that Professor created, is a really thorough and robust one. But, on a high level TLDR, it's, all the fees are paid in Bitcoin. All the Bitcoin is taken by the sequencers, and then all the sequencers distributed to stakers.
Okay. And then I noticed, you guys are going to have node operators. So can you go into a little bit more about how that works? And is it possible for somebody like myself or, the viewers that are watching today to become node operators? Or is that something that is kind of exclusive and we wouldn't have access to?
No, I think the long-term plan is to anyone can be able to become one node operator. It means you can decide when you come to Goat, Remember I said it's almost like Bitcoin. Today you can mine Bitcoin, correct? Because it's fully decentralized. The hope that we will achieve, going in steps, and is first to have whitelisted decentralized sequencers, let's say a number that is we can actually do a lot of operation with, and then we open it later to anyone who can actually be able to put something at play. But usually, as you know, if you have, let's say, very few amount of money, you have less likely to be chosen as a sequencer because of proof of stake. Sometimes you have to do your optimizations. Right. Is it better for you to stake with someone who has more, so that the likelihood for that node operator to be chosen is high, and then you may get to shared profit? Or you say, no, I want to actually keep the 100% of it, but even if it happens once every, let's say, I don't know, every week, I prefer to gain all the money once every week rather than gaining every single day a fraction of what the operator is. It becomes a choice that you make today. It means this is a choice that you will make. It means in the long run, our plan is to open it to anyone to become a node if they want to be. This is really what's going on. It means, again, for the viewer, I don't want to make it too technical for people, but generally, think of it, whatever you can do right now in Ethereum for staking and restaking, it actually can be done in Goat today. You have your Bitcoin, you can come in, and for today, you cannot be, let's say, an operator yet, but you can stake, let's say, with Brett node. Brett will give me a YBTC, which is now a yield-bearing BTC.
Okay.
I can take the YBTC, and I can go anywhere else in the network and earn an extra yield, because I can go to Uniswap and earn a liquidity. I can go to decompose it, let's say a Pendle type, which they decompose the yield into a principal. It means, think about it, you already earn in yield because you already staken. But after you earn that yield by staking, you can take this tokenized version of the yield and go to the ecosystem to generate more yield. It means almost like a double dipping.
That would be the compounding effect.
It's a compounding effect. Since I'm hungry, I was thinking about it as dipping, double dipping on a Chicago type of pizza, whatever. They give you like a double dip. I was thinking more of a dipping rather than compound return. It's a shame from a prof not to think of compound.
I'm right there with you. It's 11:42 a.m. here where I am, and I haven't eaten anything yet today. So one of the first things I'm
thinking of dipping.
When
you
we're
dip
done
in
with
and
this
then dip twice. No, this is why we think. The short answer to you, yes, you can do it in the long run. But what I wanted to inject in as a discussion is that do not only stick to, if you want to optimize your return, you don't have to just passively go stake, earn yield, and go home. No, you can earn yield and then use that yield-bearing token to generate compounded return somewhere else. It means this is the image. Think of whatever you see today in Ethereum as different applications. Think of you have Bitcoin and you have a choice. Would I go change my Bitcoin, get it to a different ecosystem, take so much risk, and then make less return? Or wait a second, I have a place in which I take less risk and make more return. Well, I guess the answer is pretty easy. Come to Goat and you make more.
So in order, if my viewers are watching, they're excited about this, they want to go participate in your ecosystem, potentially get rewarded for doing so, do they need to go out and buy Bitcoin or Dogecoin before they connect with your platform? Are they able to come over with other assets and exchange them and then use them? How would that look if somebody's watching this and they say, yeah, I want to go participate? What's the best way for them to do so?
So if people have Bitcoin, they can use our official Bitcoin bridge. We also accept BTCB, which is the Binance version.
Okay.
So you can bridge that in through Stargate Layer 0. If you have stables or ETH, you can bridge those in as well using Stargate. We're using the Stargate Hydra model, so it's no fees up to, I think, 5 million. So, bridge as much as you want at one swoop and you get no fees on that. And then what we'll do when you bridge in is we give you an airdrop of BTC. So you're allowed to, I think, make 4 or 5 transactions within BTC. So if you want to swap, a little bit for gas, you're able to do that. Or if you just wanted to, put your stables into an LP, we give you enough gas for that. So people, can bridge in really anything that they have to the network. and be able to do a transaction immediately.
Okay, beautiful. So they just go to, goat.network, go to the ecosystem tab up here in the top. And then when they get here, that I see, so they've got the goat swap. You were mentioning the bridges, which are just down a little bit further here, the Stargate. And so everything's really super simple for people that want to get started and, participate.
Yeah. We've made it really easy on our ecosystem page, and, kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier around user experience. Our main focus is user experience because we're here for the long term. We're not, really trying to make this for 3 months and then launch a token and leave. What we're really doing is building out a robust ecosystem to hopefully sustain, as Professor said, for the next 25, 35 years.
Okay. Absolutely. Makes sense. And then what is, some final thoughts on your dApps, so dig into some of the technicalities, and kind of what to expect, potential teasers and timelines. It sounds like we're a couple months out possibly from the launch of the token, but is there anything that you can give away to the viewers that wouldn't be, maybe it's one of the first times you've talked about it, and, just kind of give us a little inside information on what's to come?
Sure. I would say the more use of activity, as Professor said, proof of activity on network. I think the more generous the team will be once we have our token launch. I can't specifically say when we're going to launch our token or things like that, but that is within our roadmap at some point.
And I think it will come in the future, but we are closer actually to establish partnership with the sovereign state, which we will talk about like that. Remember, I was talking more about this is an ecosystem not just for retail, but for retail and corporate, because we want to use the heterogeneity of the people. Like the more heterogeneous the ecosystem is, the more it's good for everyone, because they share risk and they share returns, and it's something that's going to be announced within a month or so. It's a partnership with the sovereign state that is going actually to be part of the project too. This is kind of a teaser, but not complete because we don't have yet the sign-in.
Okay.
If it was signed, we'll say it, but it's not yet signed.
Would you guys like me to pull up the Avalon Finance website and go over that a little bit? Or is that a little bit more advanced than we need to go today?
I'd say probably a little more advanced. If people, it's a borrow lend. It's the top BTC 5 borrow lend. They're one of our very close partners. People are able to deposit money. They're able to borrow money. They have a great model and they're a great partner of ours. So,
if we're talking about apps, let me just simplify for the users. I think you think about it as categories, okay? If you need to borrow and you have BTCs, they're going to be borrowing and lending. If you like to win money by providing liquidity, which is more of a passive earning, basically you create your YBTC, and then after YBTC, there is places for which you can be able to earn liquidity fees. And there is the way, which is, I think, very exciting, and I will tell the users to actually explore it more, is this idea of we're going to have a trading market. If anybody from finance, it's almost like a zero coupon. Now you have the coupon-bearing bond, and you're decomposing it into a zero coupon and a coupon and off. And you have a bet-in on those. It means you get the YBTC, and it's going to be a market for decomposing the Y into the yield only and the principal only. And if you want to learn anything like this, go see Pendle and see how exciting it gets like for them in a different network. And this is something we're going to have for our YBTC. It means this is kind of like, think of it as trading activities to make money, liquidity providers to make money, and also kind of play and games and stuff like that. It means these are different. We have two sentences. We call it play and earn. Basically, play, there are apps for people to predict market prediction, market this, market that. And there is some apps to earn, and those apps can be in 4 categories: trading strategies, liquidity providers, arbitrage, and borrowing and lending. These are the 4 categories. That, of course, there are 50 things. I'm just switching into the categories part, but they can choose different from different providers. And This is actually why it's easier for us that we come also from a project that we have already done. The relationship with other people was easier to establish, and it was easier to bring in apps and to make them excited about what we do, because we already did something. This is one of the plus that we had, I think. Anything else about the apps that you can talk about, Brett? I don't know.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head, Professor.
No, just I invite people to go explore it, and I think this is exciting time, guys. It's only, I will say, a month, 2 months, something like that, before the TGA. I don't want to talk about the details. I think this is the time for which many reward is going to be given, many points are given, and it's good that you, as I told you before, the proof of activity is the key. If you're coming here one time versus somebody who's actually helping truly, we actually monitor the proof of activity, and this is something that are going to be rewarded for sure.
The only other thing that I would add is, I truly believe, and this is a personal belief, that we are in the early days of Bitcoin L2s.
I agree.
I look at this as the early coming of an ETH L2. The Metis team was very early to that when they, had that concept of an idea. And I think we're really early. I think we haven't even scratched kind of the surface of what a BTC L2 and kind of the ecosystems look like. So, a little alpha there is I would get involved in BTC Fi space for your viewers, because, this could be the next meta of what ETH was.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you guys want the people that are watching that want to become a part of your community to go? I know that I've got your website, your Twitter, your Telegram, all in the description, of this video, but where is the best place for people to come ask questions and just kind of integrate themselves with your community?
Our Telegram is always a vibrant place where people can come exchange ideas, hopefully get a little alpha while they're there. But also, if you want to follow us on Twitter, our Twitter has a lot of upcoming exciting events, things that we do within the ecosystem. The DMs are always open. So, if you have a question, feel free to pop into the Twitter DMs as well.
Okay.
We're going to attend almost all the conferences. It means if anybody from your viewers is interested to talk to us live too, like we'll be in the Dubai one, we'll be in Vegas, we will be also in the, anyway, the big conferences now, it's time for us to highlight a little bit what we're doing, and we're going to spend some time going to these conferences because we're happy to talk to people. If they follow us there, it would be great. That's a physical one, not the online one.
I will definitely be there. I actually spent the last 18 years of my life lived in Las Vegas.
Nice.
So right now I'm a little bit outside of Las Vegas. It's about an hour and 45-minute drive to Las Vegas for me, but I am excited about that week. So there is their Telegram. It's also in the top of the description. You can't miss it, but there is the link to their Telegram that should hyperlink you guys to their Telegram group. And yeah, let's for sure make sure that we meet up in Las Vegas and get an opportunity to get to know each other in person. And for sure, any of my community that is going to be there in Las Vegas, let's make sure that we get out to the GOAT Network booth and support you guys and say hello. That'll be awesome. So one of the things that we're going to do here towards the end of the stream is we're going to give away $100. We're going to give away $100 today in Solana, because I've got some extra Solana laying around. So we're going to give away $100 in Solana. We're going to give away $25 worth of Solana to 4 different people. And so I've got a mechanism in place for doing that. I want to thank you guys for making it possible, for donating the funds to, allow me to forward these to my community. And, before I go do that, though, is there anything else about the GOAT Network that we missed that you really want to highlight before we give the funds away and go have some lunch, go do some double dipping?
Yeah, some YBTC. No, it was great. I just invite people to talk to us, to send us their questions, and I want to tell people that the L2s. If I'll just add one thing to what Brett said, it's really needed and scratch the surface. I will say Ethereum may not even have needed L2. Bitcoin does need L2. and those L2s will become very, very flourishing. There's a lot of negative sentiment on them for last year because there is a lot of over-claiming by many, and I think that's accurate. But I think the market will clear, price discovery will happen, and I think the good ones will stay. And hope you guys will join us, and it will be great, hopefully. All of us.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you both for coming. I'm going to pop over here back to the shared screen, get rid of that. And so, folks, this is the chat in the live stream of the computer. So I want to go over kind of the rules. So number one, in order to win the giveaway, you have to be present. You have to have stuck with us for this hour. We appreciate all of you that are still here with us, but you do have to be present to win. The second thing that you're going to need to do is if your name is drawn, you're going to need to make a comment in the chat and let us know that you are here, and I will take that name. So Gerald, you are not winning today, but I'm going to use you as an example. I'm going to click here on Gerald's name, and then I'm going to go to Gerald's channel. And that is going to allow me to make sure a couple things. Number one, that nobody can try to clone Gerald's YouTube account and win this money. You guys would be amazed at what people will try to do to cheat the system. So by having this here, I can now go to Gerald's about, and Gerald, if he was to be picked as a winner, is going to go ahead and put in his Solana wallet address, whether that's a Phantom wallet. I prefer that you guys do a private wallet. With Solana, you can probably get away with giving me an exchange address, but if you want to be absolutely sure, put in a private wallet address here. I'll pop over and shoot you $25 worth of Solana. We're going to do that for 4 people, $25 for 4 people. And then in order to qualify for the giveaway, I appreciate each and every one of you that have been typing in GOAT the whole time. I love the enthusiasm, but just to make sure that this is totally fair and that nobody's, using 2 or 3 YouTube accounts, we're going to switch it up on you, and we're going to give you about 30 seconds to 1 minute to go type in hashtag Bitcoin into the chat. So that is going to be our random comment picker, the way that we figure out, who the winners are. Go type in hashtag Bitcoin right now. I apologize if you're driving down the road. If you got to pull off real quick, don't do anything dangerous, but go type in hashtag Bitcoin into the chat, and here in, just a few, not very long. I don't want, you got to be paying attention. You got to be present here to win these giveaways. So we're going to give you a few more seconds. We're already up to 49 of you, over 50 people. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing the winners right now. Once again, as soon as you hear your name called or you see your name picked, please go let us know that you are here in the chat. If by the time I've drawn the 4 names, you haven't said anything in the comments, we're going to go ahead and move on and draw alternate winners. So here we go.
Professor, I see you entering a few times over there.
What's that?
That's a good one. I'm trying to win the 25.
Brother,
that's a good name.
Brother Sister 17, congratulations. You have won $25 in Solana.
That's a great name. He has 17 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
It's funny, my wife won last week, but she can't win, so I had to draw a new name. But I appreciated her being on the channel. Hey, Chucks, congratulations, man. Chucks has been a long-term supporter of the channel, been with us for several years now, so I love it when somebody that I know has been around for a while is one of the winners. So Chucks, congratulations. And I know that a lot of your community is here, and I wanted to give them a shout out and thank them for coming out and supporting this live stream. And so let's see if we can draw somebody from your Telegram group, from your community, get somebody that is here because of you guys, and get a winner. Titan R, that is a name I do not recognize. I don't know if that's one of your community members or not, but Titan R, congratulations. Thank you for being here. And last but not least, Critical, CR1T. All right, Critical with a 1. You are our final winner. So now we're going to pop over here back into the chat and make sure that everybody is here. This will slow down here in a split second. So we've got the very first winner here was Brother Sister 17. There they are. We're going to go to their channel. You guys can see that I've got this pulled up here. Once again, go to your bio and put in a Solana wallet address that you would like me to send that Solana to. We got Critical. I just saw Critical there for a second too. There's Chuck's too, but there we go. There's Chuck's. Let's go to channel. Chuck, you can also DM me on Telegram or Discord if you want to, whatever's easiest for you. I believe we have a conversation. I normally don't do that because if I tell people to message me on Telegram, I get a bunch of clones for sure. We need Titan R and Critical. Titan R, here we go. Titan R, congratulations. And last but not least was Critical. I know I saw you make a comment in the chat, Critical. Let's see if we can find it again. Go up here. Critical, where are you? I know I saw it. Do me a favor, Critical. Throw another comment in the chat for me so it'll be down at the bottom. I'm having trouble finding your name, but I did see your name at one point in time. But I'm not finding it now. How far up do I got to go? Find your names. So everybody was typing in Bitcoin. So here we go. This is when we started drawing the winners.
Critical with the 1, red one with the 1. I'm starting to see the similarities.
It's me.
It's crazy. I can't find him though. I know I saw it once. Critical, please say something in the chat for me. There we go. There he is down at the bottom. Go to your channel. All right. We got the 4 winners. We are all set on that. So I will pop back out here and wrap this up for us, guys. So thank you once again for all of you being here. And thank you. I know that you guys are extremely busy. Right now is, you know, a crazy time in crypto, a lot of new stuff, a lot of things happening. But when you're trying to put all these pieces together and, you know, get something launched, I know that you guys are putting in 16, 18, 20-hour days. So we appreciate you spending over an hour of your time with us. And definitely look forward to having you back on the channel, especially once everything's launched. You've got the token launched. I'd love to have you guys come back and do some updates.
Amazing.
Thank you. It was great. Appreciated the invite.
Awesome. You're very welcome. Once again, thank you all for being here. We will see you tomorrow on the Tuesday Trader live stream, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your Monday. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, guys. Bye.